it's crazy to me how many people are going to be looking for a CPA in February and March for this year's taxes, and they haven't even talked to them, and then they don't even, they talk to a CPA that doesn't even understand what they're doing, and that's nothing wrong with a CPA. There can be really competent CPAs that just don't work with a lot of real estate investors, and then or don't work with short-term rental investors and understand bonus depreciation, material participation, and all those different things. And so start getting those, your ducks in a row when it comes to taxes. Absolutely, it's a great reminder for people. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore. We're back with Whiskey Wednesday, our Christmas Day episode, even though we're a couple days before Christmas. You guys are getting this on Christmas, and so we didn't want you to miss an episode, so we're coming back. So you guys know we do shows within the show. This is our Whiskey Wednesday, where Dave and I dive into hot topics and things that are on your mind, questions that you have sent in that we will answer. And then on Mondays, we have Experts Corner. Wednesdays, we do this. And on Fridays, we have interviews with successful short-term rental investors. So make sure you tune in and subscribe, follow us wherever you're at so you get all those conversations. What are we talking about on Christmas Day that people are listening to this on?
So this is just a couple days before we're
not really working on Christmas Day, just so you guys know. We took the day off.
Christmas, so we can talk about Christmas gifts. You know what I mean? Because they'll have them.
Oh, that's right.
They'll have them.
That's right.
They'll already have their Christmas gifts. So you have anything that anything special this year? Any unique or special things you're doing?
Yeah, we're doing Teresa and the kids, they don't know. They're going to wake up and we have two little baby Highland cows coming. So we're officially in the Highland cattle business now.
Oh, and if you listeners, have you not seen Highland cows? They are cute.
Oh yeah, they've seen them. The whole team here has seen them, and yeah, you're right. I can actually talk about this.
Oh yeah, I've been talking. I've showed my family pictures, and for the last 2 nights, all we've talked about is we can't wait to go. We feel like we're getting a Christmas gift too. We feel like we're getting your Christmas gift.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited. I was really against the. I'm more of a horse guy, but I'm excited. I actually think it's going to be pretty fun. They're going to wake up. They're getting delivered. They don't even know. Teresa, none of them know. I keep saying no. They want these little mini Highland cows. Yeah. And I keep saying awesome. No, and so they don't think I'm on board. But they're gonna wake up and have a couple little.
Well, and I just want all you listeners too. If you guys were ever doubting that Shawn Moore, it wasn't a cowboy. He's a
now I'm a real cowboy because I have cows.
Yeah,
I actually have cows now.
He literally has cows next week or in 2 days.
2 days. 2 days from now, we'll have cows.
I love it. Well, honestly, that's going to be really fun.
It'll be fun.
That'll
I'm
be
excited.
a Christmas that your kids will forever remember and be excited about. And your kids are so they're mature and committed to taking care of things and responsible. So that'll be that'll be awesome.
I'm excited. That'll be fun. What about you? Any big surprises on your list?
No real big surprises. Just when your kids get a little older, they want more expensive gifts, and so when you buy them. It wasn't like you bought them a toy that was $10 or $20 or something. Now it's, their toys are $250. And
right.
So, it's the real challenge between, getting them enough that makes them feel like they had a nice Christmas, but also like, dude, you really only get like 2 or 3 presents because they're expensive.
Right.
A pair of shoes or headphones or electronics or blow dryer, all this stuff's expensive. So, but we're excited. It's gonna be a fun couple days there. And we love Christmas time. So
it's fun. It's a good time. So hopefully you guys listening, if you are listening on this on Christmas, hope you had a great day with family. Jake's flying home to Georgia, leaving us here in Utah for a minute, going back home, seeing his family. So it's like I know a lot of travelers, and being able to spend that time it's a good time.
Well, and Merry Christmas to you, everybody. We appreciate your listener support and being a part of this podcast. So Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great New Year and spend a lot of time with your family. So
absolutely
that's awesome. So all right, well let's jump into some short-term rental things. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. We're just going to kind of a little bit of a rapid fire podcast today. So you say 80% of short-term rentals don't make money. So I'm like, okay, Shawn, come on. Like, that's the business we are in. Like, so let's break it down a little bit because people might hear that and be pretty scared. You know what I mean? Which maybe they should be scared a little bit.
Yeah. I think that they should be aware of that, right? I think that we are coming off a time where it was very easy to succeed with short-term rentals. And a lot of people, the rug was kind of pulled out from under certain people with rules, regulations, all different things, understanding that these take a lot of work. Right. There's a lot of things that you have to do. And there's a lot of people talking about them, like even like Dave Ramsey and stuff and the Airbnb bust and it's over. The short-term, the golden age is over. Short-term rentals is gone. And that's not the case. It just, everybody got introduced at a time that was not realistic to last. Right, and what I mean by that is, and especially there's a lot of things you have to navigate to be a successful short-term rental investor. The money is made at the top of the market at acquisition costs. When I say 80% of properties don't make money, I'm saying at today's acquisition prices, at today's interest rates, and at today's revenue of what these properties are generating, they will not make money.
Right.
It's not, and you have to understand what 20% of properties are going to make the money and how to make that money, and be able to really unpack the layers of the onion and really peel back those layers of the onion. So you say, okay, if I'm going to play in this game, it's a game I very much need to understand, and there's a lot of moving parts that I need to understand. And so I say that not to scare people away. I say it so that they don't walk into a buzzsaw after they spent a lot of money on a property thinking, well, if I buy a property on the beach, I'm going to make money, right? Or if I buy a property on the ski hill, it's going to naturally make money. Or I've heard this market's a good market. I'll go make money here. There's a lot more to it than just buying the right property in the right area. That's one aspect, but this is a three-legged stool, right? You have to buy the right property in the right area. You have to understand how to underwrite that. Do all those different things to understand what is even investable, and has the potential to make you money. Then you've got to create a unique experience for a target audience, and then you've got to be able to deliver that with your management and have the systems and processes in place to where you can actually deliver that experience, efficiently and consistently every single time, every time a guest comes in. And then you have to be able to market, right? These markets are crowded. It's saturated. There's people like us in the market that really understand how to play this game, and there's a lot of competition. And so you have to understand how to operate in a very competitive marketplace. And if you don't know how to do that, this is not the game to play, right? And so you have to look at it more as a very strategic investor and be able to say, okay, what are the levers I can pull to make sure that this works for me? And the reality is, the good news, I think, is that most people won't do it. And so that, when they say it's lonely at the top, there's a lot less competition at the top of these markets. And so understand how to play the game correctly. You can be that top 20% of the market that makes all the money, right? The 80% of the market doesn't make money. Their fair share of business doesn't pay the bills at today's acquisition prices, interest rates, and revenue. And so when I say that, it is a little bit to give somebody pause from just jumping in to a market that there's a lot going on, and it may or may not be the right vehicle it's not for everybody, right? There's pros and cons. We love them. And we're going all in, and we continue to go all in with short-term rentals, but we understand how to play in the top 20% of these markets, and that's where the money's made. And I tell people, and I say that because the reality is that is true. Most properties aren't making any money, but the ones that do, there's a really significant opportunity for people.
Well, and it's about setting the expectations, I think.
Right.
And we've always said this since the inception of Odyssey is we want you to come into this with your eyes wide open. Right. We're super transparent. We want you to know, like, hey, this is hard. This is difficult. It's challenging. Yeah. If you have a process and a blueprint, you can do, really good things or have the potential. And knowing that, hey, there's 80% of the people that may struggle in this. That's okay. Yeah. We are going to show you how to be in that top 20% and what it takes to be successful and how to evaluate and go down that path. So yeah. So that's great. So I think it's good. I know we're going to do some future webinars and some different stuff on this as well. So that's good. It's good to teach people and make sure they understand it. So all right. Just as a side, we had a question that came in from one of our Odyssey members, and actually, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a Odyssey member. And they asked they know you had talked a lot about your kids and Wyatt and Grace and getting involved. And this person has a son or daughter that they'd like to get involved too. So just as a kind of teaser, we're going to really dive into that in an upcoming episode and really kind of help understand how to get your kids involved, whether they're at a young age or a little bit older. Maybe they're old enough to maybe start investing themselves, things like that. So I think it'll be fun. So stay tuned. Just kind of a little teaser to kind of get ready for that. So I think that'll be a fun.
Yeah, it'll be a fun episode. I'm excited. I've always said, I've been investing for 24 years, right? And I've been investing in a lot of different asset classes. Typically, an investment property is kind of a means to an end. It's just, it's a financial decision. We're going to buy these properties. They're going to be part of our overall investment strategy. Short-term rentals are that, but they also are really fun, and families and do it together. Kids get involved. My kids were young when they started getting really interested in it. They're 13 now, and they've been pretty involved for the last few years, to the point where they're trying to underwrite properties, and they're trying to get on, we got them involved in Dave Ramsey's stuff to learn how to budget and save up for stuff first, right? That first step of investing is really, spending less than you make and being able to earn some money and save it and put it away for that next thing. And so they're getting, we're trying to take them through those steps. And so, I'm excited about, we thought of maybe having them in the studio and doing a little talk, let them, from their mouths, what is their experience been? We'll kind of put them on the hot seat a little bit. So I think that's a really good question. And where they have been, we've gone on trips. They send me properties. They underwrite properties at this stage. They're trying to acquire a property, and they want me to partner with them, right? They've got a certain amount of money. We're going to put a certain amount in, and I tell them no on most of the properties, because they're learning that not every property works. And so it'll be fun to have that conversation, but really hearing it from them versus from me. Yeah. And we'll kind of put them on the hot seat a little bit and we'll see where it goes. Well,
fun. They'll probably take my position, my spot.
They might take mine too.
All right. Listen, I'll gladly give it up to those two.
If they start doing too good, I'll throw them some curveballs. So we still have a job.
Make sure that it's just a pretty good episode, not a great one.
All right, deal.
All right. Let's talk about blanket pricing. And specifically, an example of a property manager who blanket prices out, 6 months, and almost doubles what the current nightly rate is. So the calendar's open 6 months in advance. So if anybody wants to book, they can. But the pricing for that nightly rate 6 months out is almost double. Say tonight you can get it for $300, and 6 months from now it's like $600 or $800. What's the downside to doing that? Because the property owner asked us, man, I don't know if that's the right strategy, because it seems like it's priced too high. Yeah. For 3, 4, 5. And so
they're just going out and they've got kind of a set price that just is, it's double or just triple or whatever it is.
And then as it gets closer,
then they start managing pricing,
adjust it and kind of and back it down. But the real question was, it's not that they didn't agree with the strategy, more about, wow, it's so high. Like, how high do you want to put it? Right.
So on the surface, what I'm hearing is that with the tools and everything available now for revenue management, it seems very lazy to just say, hey, listen, we're going to set a really high price in the future. I would be aggressive in the future, right? I would understand what my average lead times are, what percentage of guests are booking, 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out, a year out, right? There are certain markets that you should be open a year in advance, not just 6 months in advance, right? And so, and with the tools available, you set your prices accordingly so that if somebody does book further out in advance, you're going to get paid for it. But also, you don't just set a blanket price. There's going to be events, and there's going to be peak times, in those times that are further in the future, right? And so you can't just say, okay, I'm going to be double or triple my price now, and if I get the booking, great. If I don't, I'm not worried about it. And they focus on those closer bookings, and that's when they really look at the revenue management. I understand the strategy if you're saying, okay, that's when the bulk of the people are coming in. If we're going to book out, we want to get paid for it. But with the tools available now, you can be aggressive, but you can still, it shouldn't just be a blanket across the board. And you probably, some markets, it's smarter to be open a year out in advance, right? I had a property that was really seasonal, and our bookings would be for like almost a year in advance. When somebody left for that summer, they're booking that next summer, right? And so, and you have properties that are like that, where especially when you've got a lot of repeat guests, they're like, okay, I want to book this property for next year. When we go to Alaska, we have to do the same thing with the lodge we stay at. It's like you're booking a year out in advance. It's no different with properties. And so, if you're just going to always get super, super aggressive with that, and it's double or triple what you're probably going to hopefully get, like, I don't know that that's the right strategy either.
Right.
There's just too many tools, and you can get a lot more sophisticated than that on revenue management now. With Price Labs and AirDNA and different tools that you can look out and project out what you're going to be pricing at. And why not be aggressive? Don't discount very far out, but be realistic on what you want to be booking it for too.
And what about a weekend versus a weekday? That plays into effect as well.
Yeah,
right?
that's just revenue management, right? And every area is different.
Yeah.
And so, typically you're going to get a little bit more on the weekends than you are on the weekdays. But if it's during the peak season in the summer at a beach community, your weekdays and weekends are kind of the same if it's right in the middle of the summer.
Right.
So it really depends on, again, that's the sophistication of revenue management. Now we can look at all of those different things, and it makes no sense to do the old school way of just saying, okay, I'm going to be X amount per night on weekdays, X amount per night on weekends, and then further out, I'm going to double that and do like kind of that blanket pricing strategy. Just doesn't make a lot of sense with the tools that we have available now.
Well, and I think too, you got to look at historical pricing.
Yeah.
For holidays, things like that, but also events and things that happen in your area. Like we have a property in St. George, Utah. We know that this weekend in October is the new PGA event that's in St. George. We also know that the Utah Summer Games and the World Senior Games, the Ironman, the St. George Marathon, all those things. So those would, dictate a higher price.
And they're going to book further out in advance as well.
Yes.
And so you're going to command a higher price during those events, but people plan for those events, right?
Yeah.
And so your average lead time is going to be extended for sure during those events. And so, but that's not an entire season. That's going to be a week here, a week there, a weekend here, a weekend there. And so really understanding and paying attention to that. But those tools are available, right?
Yeah.
And just paying attention to that. Blanket pricing strategies on revenue management, they just don't make a lot of sense anymore with the tools available.
Right.
You're going to leave money on the table, or you're going to cost yourself some bookings because you're pricing too high when you could have got a booking and got that property booked a little bit further in advance.
Yeah, good. We had a question within our school community about picking a domain name, and it was a super long. It was a long. They tried to include the name of the property, which was kind of long, and then they tried to include the town or the city that it was in, and so forth. And through your experience, because marketing, the ads and the different things, it's much better to have a more concise, easy to type out, not a complicated spelled domain name, right?
Absolutely. Obviously, shorter, better, memorable, easy to spell, all those different things play into a domain that especially if you're talking about it, right? If you're going to say, hey, go visit Vodacy.com. Vodacy is a hard word to spell, right? It's one word, but I always have to spell it out, And so if you're going to have to spell it out, if you're going to, the problem with short, sweet, concise domain names is they're gone, right?
Yeah,
they're hard to get.
Right.
And so a lot of people have these long domain names, and the domain name, it becomes more irrelevant. You just have to have that clickable link that people can click on. And it's not going to be as user-friendly when you're trying to say it on a podcast or you're trying to tell it to somebody. You have to have literally a clickable link. The longer it gets, the more important it is to when you advertise your property, people can just click the link, right?
And we've you and I've talked about it too, but I think that a lot of folks, they really rely on their email address too for customer follow-up.
Yes.
And they put it on business cards and they put it on different things. And that's another thing. That's, a lot of people like to include their middle name and their all these things. And so you just simplifying it just makes it more successful for people to respond to you and to type it in and not have a wrong, misspelled or something like that.
An email is a good example. Like, what if I have like the Lakeside Treehouse in Cherry Log, Georgia? What if that was the whole website, and then I'm like, Shawn at the Lakeside Treehouse, Cherry Log, Georgia.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
That sounds
Somebody's
ridiculous.
like, I'm not emailing him. I'm just not emailing Shawn.
Exactly. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then you got to do buy all the domains for the misspellings and everything else. I mean, as a marketer. So when you start to get to that point, your website becomes a little irrelevant as far as, as far as being able to tell somebody to use it. You just have to have a shorter clickable link, like click here to visit property. And, and which is fine, right? You can do that as well. Most of your marketing is online, but if you put it on business cards or you need somebody to email you, it should be as concise as possible. If you can find it, right? Just try to be creative to get one that works and is maybe not quite as descriptive, telling people about the property, where it's at, and everything else. It's not a headline, right? It's an email or a website.
Yeah, good. Last thing, and we're really late on this, but just a reminder for those who are, trying to figure out the details of their taxes, make sure that they're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's with their taxes to take advantage of anything they need to by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This is, you say we're late, but most of us don't we don't want to talk about taxes.
Right.
So we put it off till this time of year, the end of the year, the end of the season. Make sure the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. It's a little late for tax strategy at this stage.
Right. You need to already have a strategy in place, but you might need a couple extra hours or some different things. You got to make sure you take care of that. So.
If you're trying to materially participate, make sure you go look at your hours, make sure you're looking at your spreadsheets and see where, if you have to pick up some extra hours here or there, go make sure you have time to do that.
Right.
All those different things that help us really mitigate our tax risk. And a lot in our world, if you're trying to bonus depreciate and materially participate, it has to do with the amount of activity that you're doing and the hours you're putting in, making sure you've got a CPA that understands what you're doing as well.
Right.
It's crazy to me how many people are going to be looking for a CPA in February and March for this year's taxes, and they haven't even talked to them, and then they don't even, they talk to a CPA that doesn't even understand what they're doing, and it's nothing wrong with a CPA. There can be really competent CPAs that just don't work with a lot of real estate investors, or don't work with short-term rental investors and understand bonus depreciation, material participation, and all those different things. And so start getting those, your ducks in a row when it comes to taxes. Absolutely, it's a great reminder for people, and hopefully you've already done it. Hopefully you've already had those conversations, because if you have, you probably have a lot smaller tax bill for the year than if you haven't had those conversations. Right. And so, it behooves us to have those conversations early on and plan for it. And so, if you haven't, get on it now.
You got 6 days left.
You got 6 days left in the year. So
you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
if you times 6 times 24, I'm not sure what that works out to be, but you might be able to get some more hours.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to get your 500 hours. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
So, well, that's it, buddy. That's our Christmas
Christmas
edition of
Day.
2024. So we're again, you and I are super thankful for all of our blessings, all the things we have, for our partnership, our friendship, and hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. So.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, Merry Christmas. We do appreciate you joining us on Christmas Day. We hope you're having an amazing holiday season with your friends and family. We appreciate you always spending time with us at the end of these episodes. If you got any value, share the show. Those things help us. If you know somebody else would like to be a part of these conversations, walking into this game with their eyes wide open, we appreciate you sharing it. If you have questions, send them in to support@vodacy.com. We'll make sure that we get them answered on an upcoming episode. And if you've got more than 30 seconds, like it, review it on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. So, guys, at the end of every episode, what are we pointing at? Oh, our bourbon today.
heck.
We're about to do our cheers.
That's why we have him.
That is why we have producer Jake. Hey, good job, brother.
Smokes.
Hey, our unofficial official sponsor, Mr. Jeff Chism, sent us in an awesome care package today. I mean, it had all kinds of treats, but we got our Texas whiskey bourbon from Fire Oak Distillery out of Texas. Jeff sent us a lot of goodies, and Jeff is our preferred lender over here at Vodacy. So
he does an awesome job. He's a good friend of ours, and he's in the short-term rental business, and he does an amazing job.
STR home financing. He does, absolute killer when it comes to 10% down second home loans. Yeah. So Jeff, we appreciate you, brother. Merry Christmas. And we will have this cheers on Jeff. So guys, go pick that one thing you can do today. Start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends. Cheers. Jeff.
Cheers, Jeff.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website? Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodacy.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.